what problems you're solving. I'm in the health space. I'm not only in the health, but I'm in the space of actually helping people, either health-wise or curing them of disease of their mind. Now, if my concern is more about how much they pay me than the value I deliver to them, it's just a matter of time. I'm going to be out of business because it's going to show in every transaction that I make. But if my concern is about them getting better, I will remain in business. In fact, I will do a lot more. Because then when they are not feeling well, it actually touches me. And because it touches me, I'm doing everything possible to ensure that they get better. You understand? I'm applying not only medical therapy, I'm applying psychotherapy, I'm applying emotional support. It's happened so many times that doctors will tell you that if you've had a patient who went through a trying time and you're with that patient through that period, and then they get better, there's a bond between you and that patient. Am I right? It's the same thing with your business. When someone comes with problems, maybe you're in the financial space and you solve people's money problems, and they are in that period, and you don't only supply the funds, but you also supply the technical know-how on how to apply the funds to solve that problem. And they come out of that problem, there's a bond that has formed. Oh, someone is she's getting married, she needs a bridal dress, she wants you to make it for her. And then you spend time listening to her desires and you advise her, and you guys try it this way. And I know that sometimes, when we don't make up our mind easily, right? You want to go out, you picked up the clothes to wear. You wear it, you don't like it, right? You change it. Now you're in that garment industry and she's like, no, I don't like this. And you stay there, okay, this is good, and you go through all of that period. And maybe, of course, her complaints about dress is not because she had problems with the dress, but she has issues and she's really worked up or overwhelmed by the fact that you're planning for the wedding. And then you are with her through that period and you make that dress, you show up for her on her wedding day, and there's a bond that you have formed. In fact, it's a topic that we might look at some other time when we talk about there are levels of leadership. One of them is relational. As a leader, as a business owner, you need to also understand how to form bonds with your customers. Maybe not all, but you have some high networked individuals that actually engage you. And then when they are doing things, you show up for them. You're actually forming bonds with them. Now, you do all those things, and you also communicate that to your members of your team to do that because you are solving a problem that is bigger than just the money you are getting. Making meaning is always better than making money. I'll spend the first maybe 20 minutes of my time here trying to explain this because this might just be the most important thing. Two things. One, what you permit is what festers. So your business is an extension of yourself. So if you are seeing things you don't understand in your business, you say that those things are in you. Check. If they are not in you, well enough. In the early days of our business, and then it still happens. In fact, they still say that till date. That even when we conduct interviews, whoever is on the panel will like, see, we can't employ this person. And they say, because this person is not SMC person. I wasn't the first person that started saying that. But members of my management team started to say it because they then start to track that they are kind of people that this guy employs. They could actually connect that quality amongst themselves. And we know the number one quality is what? Hire what kind of people? Nice people. We don't know. We know now. You hire nice people. If you are not nice, you can't work. I try to be nice. And if you are not a nice person, I quickly see it, and we cannot actually work together. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So that's the first thing. Hire nice people. The next thing is make your business solutions something bigger than you. Let it make meaning. And I'm trying to use selected examples because it's easy for me to, as a doctor, it makes meaning, right? But then I'm using garment. Sometimes maybe you think that making garment does not make meaning. I'm sure the guys that are in that. Is anybody in the garment making industry? Sorry, right? I'm making sense, right? Oh, good. Yes. And then because you're making meaning, it helps the orientation of your employees on how to engage customers. And your customer receipts, it helps you in creating more of them and keeping them. Dr. Olamide has said this, that businesses are for two things: create customers and then keep them. If you want to succeed in business, that's the two things: creating customers and keep them. Everything we're talking about is about things that will help us create customers and actually keep them. And then, because you're solving their problems. I'll say this too, and I'll say this for free. When you are engaging your customers, and especially when it comes to negotiations, never make your negotiations about the money. You will lose that argument. And we've been doing a lot of that now because prices keep changing, right? And then the cost of things are up. And the guy or the lady that is trying to negotiate with you knows that. Of course, fuel pump price, exchange rate, and a lot of things affected the economy because of goods have got. They know that, don't they? They know everybody, but they're still trying to negotiate with you. Now, if you're negotiating at the same level at which they're negotiating with you, you most likely, if you win, it's because they just want to buy it, but they might not be too happy about how you went about it. Now, once someone is trying to negotiate at the level of prices, you rise above that. And how do you rise above it? Just communicate the value they are getting. Just tell them what they are going to get from it. Because like I've already told you, someone will buy when they see the value of that thing is much more than the amount of money they're paying. Am I right? So you communicate that value. And it means that you are actually delivering the value. For you to communicate something, you are communicating what you're going to deliver. You can't say, I'm going to give you bespoke garments that is this, that, glitz and glamour, and then you give them a mat and you are delivering it, you don't even dry clean it. It's rumpled. That does not go with your vision. That does not go with your objectives. It does not go with what you just told the customer. You told them, I'm delivering, bespoke. In fact, when you wear it, we call it gator, right? You see everything like this. You can even rule a straight line with it. And then you have a team that do not understand what you have communicated to your customer, or do not even understand the value you deliver. And then you're not there. They make the garments, and because they're in a hurry, they deliver the garments without dry cleaning it. Have you not lost some form of bond? You might not lose the customer, but the customer would like, no, this guy is not delivering what he has promised. So like I said, once it makes meaning, it simply solves the customer's problems and it makes them feel good. How many of us like to feel good? How many of you go to places where they make you feel good? So where I cut my hair, and I'm going to say this, they pay attention to details. They take their time. I know one thing I noticed, that sometimes we might be 4 men that want to cut our hair. In fact, usually they have like 3 or 4 places where you cut your hair. I'm sure most of us have one person in that place that will cut you. If that person is not there, you can even go. But now we have their phone numbers. Are you there now? And my own, what I like, and I'll tell you, I like you take your. In fact, once the clipper touches my head, sometimes I think I slip off. And I'm sure that I don't nod, because if I nod, they might have done. My eye, see, as the clipper is like this, my eyelids just start to close, because it's relaxation for me. The guy might take an hour and a half. If I meet 3 people there, it's going to do the same thing. I'm not complaining, because I know once it's my turn, I must get my own 1 hour. It's like a spa session. I'm telling you, as in no jokes. In fact, if the guy travels, I can wait for him to come back. But what I did, I have 2. You should not hear and know that I have another. So I have 2 places that I go. So there, they pay attention and they take care of your hair. That is there. They might have that might have been something they wrote down or they do, but the guy himself, the owner of the place, that's what he does. And then the best way for him to generate more customers is to also communicate that to every other guy, every other barber there. So that when you come there, we'll take care of you. Beyond, and then, because when I was in school, when I was in UI, there was a guy at the Agbo complex, opposite UI. I used to cut my hair outside the school, because after they cut your hair, then they'll take you, they wash your hair, massage your scalp, and then you use towel. I pay more to cut my hair there than in school because of those little things. I'm just using those examples to see that even in whatever industry, whatever business, by doing a little bit extra, you actually might win a lot more customers. In every businesses, you have high performance, and most times you have 20% of your employees that deliver 80% of the value. They might not do 80% of the work, but the quality of their work gives 80% of the values. It's important to identify those people and also pay them some attention. I'm not saying, and I think I write it there, it's not that you should neglect the low performance. In fact, the goal is how do we move more staff from low performance towards high performance? But there are people who are high performers and they have certain characters. And one of the things, and I said that earlier, is that they must have something they are working towards. There are people like we have people like that, people like me that are usually restless. There's going to be something we are doing. By the time you do something and you've automated it, you're like, what else can I do? I can't just be sitting down, not doing anything. Now, such people that are high performers are also like that. They might not be hardworking people. And I'm sure there was a time Dr. Lamtoy taught, I can't remember, and looked at that. In fact, people who do best work are smart and lazy people. You can remember, right? Because they don't want to stress themselves. So what they do, they look for the best way to do it within a short time or with as little effort as possible. And is that not what we are trying to achieve? That's what makes your business more efficient. You understand? You are effective while efficient. You are still doing and hitting the goals, but you are not using as much resources as you would use. So high performance do not necessarily mean hard work. In fact, you don't need a lot of them to be hard workers. Because those are the people, and I'm giving you examples that they are good and the business is doing well when they are there. When they are not on duty, there's a problem, especially if they are management level. You have a high performer that is the head of department, but the department only functions when the person is there. You need to teach the person how to delegate. Because there are people who are like, see, you won't be able to do it well. Just bring it, let me do it. So they keep scoring high when you evaluate the department, but you then realize that when they are not there, the performance is not at the same level. So you identify your high performance, create roles and give them goals. Because they are used to hitting the mark. Then you don't need to waste their energy. Once they hit one, give them another. Once they hit another one, give them another one. You would know what goals to set because you have your vision. That's how we started with vision. You have the picture of where you're going to, and you know how each goal ties to your ultimate vision. Goals for them, give them goals, reward them. Never let it, don't ever, it's by the time high performers come to you to renegotiate some form of rewards, some of them you might be losing them already. When you have high performance, ensure that work is, of course, it's commensurate to their level, commensurate to what they're doing, but then give reward. Reward should not be about money all the time. Recognition too. We want to be recognized, right? We want to be recognized. If you've done some work with a member with your team, and most of you even did most of the work, but you're not the head, and then someone comes out and says, we appreciate so department, in fact, and start to go off about the head of department. And you, the head of department that knows that, see, it's Kunle that really helped, and then they give you the mic, you say, oh, thank God, thank you, everybody, and you don't even appreciate your team. How do you think Kunle will feel? Next time that you have some things to do, Kunle will like, so, accolade. Might as well just do it now. Do you understand? And when the business of automating our businesses, when business of running our businesses to run in our absence, and you don't, even in the presence of the customer, appreciate guys that are doing the work, and you're taking all the glory, you might as well do all the work. So part of reward, when I say reward, don't just think about money, recognition. Thank you. You've done well. I've been watching you over the last 3 months, and you've really grown. You're becoming the archetype of a high performer or of your business SMC standard of a staff. Person will feel good. You understand? And then you have a meeting and then say, see, this person is doing, because you have to be careful too. You don't overblow all those things because there has to be someone who is deserving of it. I was having a meeting with my management staff. Was it yesterday? And I was trying to say that I need to also know members of staff who are delivering human service. Because I'm not there every day, I don't have that data anymore. So there are people that are going far and beyond what they're supposed to do, but I'm not there to see. Most times, and the mistake the management, I said, most times you might make the mistake of bringing their names to me when they do something that you don't think is right. But if you don't give me the balance of when they have exhibited human service, my judgment in that matter will be skewed, and I might lose that person. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because it's easy to, if you don't do something right, it's very easy to pick it out. No, no, you did this, you came late, you did that. But sometimes we struggle to appreciate. So such high performance, apart from creating roles, setting goals for them, and they keep meeting it, please, you have to reward them. You have to nurture, you have to recognize them. Then the low performers, you have to convert as many low performers as possible to high performance. So you have to encourage them. You have to, of course, institute continuous learning, watch them, follow them. Those ones, pay close attention. Understand why they are low performers. Sometimes it might be their understanding of the role, or sometimes they might be the square peg in a round. Oh, they might not be entirely bad people, especially if you take your time in employing. Because most times the people who hire are people who have the basic quality. Then we mold them in whatever direction we want them to go. Sorry. So, and then, of course, when you look at those people, don't allow complacencies. Mediocrity you don't want. Because when you look at low performance, you find that this person is mediocre. Please, it's a good time to show the person the door. Because they are going to pollute your pool of staff. It's a good time to show them the door. Now, follow my trend. You pay close attention. You figure out why they are low performers, and it's not because of the quality of the person. Do you get what I'm saying? Then you help them, place them in the right place, give them the right motivation, and they move up. But there is selected few in the minority who are actually mediocre in their thinking. Have you tried to share the goal to an employee of increased productivity, and he or she tells you that it is impossible? It happened to me once. The person didn't tell me directly. The person told the manager. The manager told me. We fired the person. Not immediately, maybe a week later, because I now conducted a meeting. I conducted a meeting and I asked, what are your goals, your objectives? And our goal was so mediocre. And I was trying to explain to her why our goal should be better. And I was comparing her with her counterpart in the other establishment. And she started to laugh. She turned herself to Sarah. She laughed. She left that day. Mediocrity is another level. They're even laughing at. Not me, what I was saying. I don't make a big deal about myself. It's about what we're talking about. So you don't, because if you have people like that and you leave them, the high performance, after a while they'll get tired. You understand? They'll start running low on oil. Or the disparity will be so much that it starts to affect the quality of work. Then, of course, look at promotions. Guys are doing well, promote them. If there are opportunities, we've talked about when there are vacancies, the first place to look is inwards. Who can fill that role? You understand? We've seen that happen in all Dr. Lamito's organizations. It's the first place where I saw that someone who is a cashier can just go and be head of some because there are qualities you see. In fact, those ones you are seeing them real time. You know what they have. When you conduct that interview, some people are faking it. You understand? But these ones can't. Well, if they are faking it and they can fake it for 6 months that they've been with us, they most likely will be able to fake it for another 1 or 2 years. And they should just go on and fake it. Is it not the faking that you want? Just deliver the thing. Even though you get home and tell your husband, those who they don't know you, I just used to smile there, but I'm a liar, I'm a terror, I'm liquid what? Don't let me say liquid metal. But as long as you're in the business, you are a dove. And you're home, you're a lion. Just continue being the dove. So look at pathways for promotion. And high performance, like it's part of the goals. They want to see the path to the top. They want to see path to the top. Yeah, good change, Kaizen. Now there's a law, and we've talked about this so many times. I'm not going to go and be explaining continuous, deliberate, good change. But the thing is this: see, you know where, because, and that's why I say go to great. If you're attempting or you're planning to be a great company, you don't just move from 0 to 100 in one day. Am I right? You don't move from 100 to 0 to 100 in 6 months. But what would ensure that you achieve that goal of being the best in your industry, in the country, in the world, is the fact that for every single day, you're better than the day before. See, before you even talk about yourself. If you want to be the best at anything, you see a guy that is doing something that you like to do, but you've not tried that before. You can't just wake up the next day and you do it. But you first have to understand what it takes to get there. You break it down and say, okay, let me master this one today. I'll master this one tomorrow. And the changes, what you're mastering, they don't have to be clearly, it might not be distinguishable how better you're becoming. You don't have to, okay, because, oh, this guy's, when the guys take seminar, the way it talks, the way I want to do that. But I'm someone that I'm even shy. Do you know in a year, that person who is shy can be delivering at that level? But it doesn't mean that she is going to deliver at that level the next month. But then you start looking at, before you speak, you need to have a resource, as in you have to be filled with knowledge about these things, right? That's one. The other thing is you have to be able to communicate that which you know. Thirdly, this person has to be able to stand and face the crowd. And then, so it breaks them down. Then it's okay, the first month, the first 2 months, let's even eat a lot of wisdom. Let me take wisdom. So what does that mean? It means I'm reading a book per week. I'm reading a book per month. And it starts to read. And as I'm reading, I'm discussing with my friends. I'm discussing with my spouse. I'm discussing with babies that don't even understand what I'm saying. I'm practicing in front of the mirror. It starts to look at that. So it starts to, you start looking at it, marginal gains. So I'm better today, I'm better tomorrow. And there's something, I think it's in Atomic Habits, the accumulation of marginal gains. And that's why the equation, when you get 1% better every day, by the end of the year, you're 37 times better than the person that started. I know it's easy to get better a little by little, right? It's easier. It's easier to communicate that to your staff, the need to get better every day. And that's what Kaizen is about. It has to be deliberate. It has to be continuous. It shouldn't be some of the times. Some of the challenges have had it too in the past, is that we do the right things, but we do it some of the time. We don't do it all the time. So you look at your business, and I think I discussed that in Lagos. Was it last or 2 seminars ago? You can look at your entire value chain of your business, from when the customer engages you to when you deliver the product or the service. And you break it down and say, each of them, how can you make this better? I did that with my staff and say, see, each department, go and sit down together and tell me 5 things you can do better to increase the love our customers have for us, to make them fall in love with us more. Do you understand? We all, okay, not all. Some of us, I don't know if you follow sports, you have clubs that you identify with. You have football fans here. Anybody? Just raise your hand, let me know. So if I should use that example, or I should go for another one. Now, either you are a football They are getting better every day. And the speed is so much. They are getting better every day. And the comfort they enjoy when you are solving their problem. Those are the things that are going to be in our life. But like you can't give what you don't have about this thing. You have to ensure that what are those values that you need your employees to have in order to deliver your vision. Make sure they are really good. They are working attending seminars that will teach those things. But as you get better day by day, so as it gets better day by day, they will continue to improve. Your business will continue to improve. Your customer will continue to fall in love with you. The day you don't deliver well, they will come and tell you. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So we have to do that. And one of the other things you do, I wrote it here, because you have to generate, so you have to improve that culture where they generate ideas or creativity. And that's what I did. I even did like it's a competition. Whichever department that wins the best ideas, you will get a gift. And part of integrity, give them that gift. And I did, and they were happy. So I know that the next time I ask them to do something along those lines, they will do it. We generate ideas a lot. And from what they've given me, I got 5. Some of them actually look similar. And then we started doing some of those things. I've just generated ideas of creativity. But what I did, which is more than the ideas I generated, is that I forced them to sit down to look at what they're doing. And then to figure out how to do it a little better. I don't have to tell them to start doing it. They will do it. And when I come with my documents, you understand, say these are the things we want to do. It will be easy for them to actually do it because they owned it. It was their own. It wasn't mine. Do you understand? Yes, then of course, culture of implementing suggestion schemes. I learned that while I was working to Medical, and we do that a lot. I'm sure they still do it. Where we generate suggestions from the staff. It's feedback. Now, how many of you know that your first customers are your staff? If you run a business, your first level of customers are your staff. Yes, so when we talk about customers, sometimes we're also talking about them. If you treat them very well, they'll treat your secondary customers well, right? If you don't treat them well, it will take the Spirit of God to help them to treat them well. So have that culture. See, collect data, gather data from your employees, gather data from your customers. In fact, the easiest way to find out about your competitors are your customers. Because either you like it or not, they go there. Or they have friends who use them. So if you have good friends among them, you can tell them, do you know about these people? Yeah, I don't know if I know. So what do you know? They'll tell you. The same way they tell your competitors about you. Do you understand? So generate data. And then use those data to actually make decisions about your business and where to go. So Kaizen, we know, and that's good change, deliberate, continuous improvement. When you have your team harmony is important. We say team means together each or everyone achieves more. I'll go back to sports. Sorry, I'm using sports right now. If you have, I don't want to go through details, but how many of you remember there was a match a few years ago? Manchester United played Arsenal. Sir Alex Ferguson was still the coach. Apologies for people who don't understand what I'm saying, but you guess what I'm going to. Sir Alex Ferguson used 7 defenders in that game. He had a lot of injuries. They used 7 defenders. You can't remember. We've been following these things. Now in a football team, you have guys who are we have the keeper, right? Everybody should follow this. You have the defender. Those are the ones that protect the keeper, that protects the goal. Are we together? Then you have the guys that play in the middle. We call them midfielders. And you have the attackers that score the goals. Now, there's an average number. Usually defenders are not usually more than 4. Right? 3, 4, 5 at most. Now, and you need the midfielders to give the ball to the attackers to score. Now, in a team where there was a lot of injuries and he used 7 defenders out of 10. So he had only 3. And of the 3, I can't remember that one midfielder, the others were attackers. They played another team that was balanced in terms of they had the keeper, the everything. But the guys with 7 defenders won. That was an extreme thing. But even his team, this team won a lot of trophies, right? But since the coach left, what has happened to their success? Now, the difference is, and I'm an outsider looking in, The coach was a rallying point. One. Two, he believed so much in teamwork than superstars. In his time, he had problems with superstars, Beckham, all those guys. He would ship you out. If you are attaining a superstar status, such that you are not doing the things that everybody is supposed to do, you rather sell you off and buy players who are ready to work with the team. I'm stressing on that to just show you what this means. If you have a team of average players or average members, nice people, but maybe they are not at the top of their game, but they are willing to learn, and you're able to bring about harmony, and they collaborate, they will do better than the next guy that has a lot of superstars, but they work in silos, they work independently. Do you get what I just said? So synergy, collaboration, cooperation is important amongst your team members, and one of your duties is to ensure that you maintain it. That's why if at any time you have a whiff, or you feel that there's somebody who is threatening the unity of your team, you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention. I'm not saying merely see that chase the guy away. No, pay attention. Find out what is going on. Is there something personal? Is there something general that the guy has? Solve the problem, because if he was part of the team that was united, what has changed? Do you get what I'm saying? It's different from when you bring someone and that person is trained, the person is a looter. There was a time I was in Tolu Medical, we had meeting, staff meeting, and a nurse stood up and she asked me a question. That question was attacking the culture of the hospital. And in my mind, I said, we have employed a looter. Because while she was saying those things, I could see in the eyes of every other person that she was speaking their mind. So, or a few of them. So I know that they've had conversations in the background. She's the spokesperson, and she's new. You understand? In fact, I think she wasn't the matron, but she was a senior. She came as a senior level nurse. And that's sometimes the disadvantage of employing people that have too many experience. Because you do a lot of job trying to say this is the way we do it, as opposed to this is how I have known it to be done. Now, and after of course I answered that, thank God for wisdom. I was able to answer by not answering, because that question was not directed to me. I was medical director. But I then, after that meeting, had to call her for a meeting, because I needed to understand what had gone in the background. And I addressed those concerns one-on-one, and then called another meeting. Of course, it had to do with the nurses, and then gave them the right answer. So we didn't ask her to leave. We just felt that because of where she was coming from, she had a mindset about something. So like, okay, where I was coming from, we used to enjoy this benefit. Why are you not doing it? But then she was disregarding the benefits she now enjoys here that they were not enjoying. You know, people do that. They talk as if they don't know. They know, but then they want to add this one to that one. And the industry, the company or competitor that they're comparing with, they know that the things they enjoy here, they don't enjoy it there. Please, such meetings, because what I did was just to answer her in that first meeting by highlighting the things they enjoy where they are. I did not answer either you will get this one or not. It's not even my place to do that. Because those kind of meetings are opportunity for you to sell yourself. Right? Let me give a marriage example. Now, no, not marriage, let's say relationship. Now, if at any time you're talking to a lady and then, of course, you like the lady and she's trying, and then she asks you some questions about some things you don't do that she thinks you are supposed to be doing, and you know you can't do it, but you don't want to, will you leave her by saying that I don't want to do it? Has anybody ever done that? If you have done that and survived, come and tell me. What do you say? You won't survive it. Or if you think you survived it, they just allowed you to go. Just know that they are accumulating and coming. The way you think you went, they'll block it and then ask you again. But the thing is this, you sell yourself. I might not be doing this, but this, and this is what we are getting. This, and this, what's coming next. In 5 years, this is where we're going to be. And then you go to work to make sure that that's what happens. It's the same thing that happens in business. As the owner of the business, you are communicating. This is it. This is the next. If we do this, this is what's going to happen. And make sure that that is happening. And that's why if you have members of staff that are threatening what you have promised, you have to do something about them. You don't want to come back after 2 years. We would have achieved it, but because of Kunle, I don't know which Kunle you have used Kunle. It's because of Kunle, that's why. Is that what you tell your members of staff? No. So you actually promise those things and ensure that you deliver on it. So no silo mentality. Don't encourage people that work on their own. If you have people who come to you and say, "Oh, this thing that I say was, see, I have done it," and it's supposed to be a team effort, but some people want to, I don't know if showmanship is the right word, but they want you to see that they might not be the best for you. They are good, they are high performer, but they don't understand collaboration. They don't understand team spirit. Then teach them. Do you understand? You can say, see, this thing that it took you 3 days to achieve because you had to run it from beginning to the end. Do you know that a day in this place and Choma there could have done this for you while you are doing this, and you guys would have turned it out in 6 hours. You've done good, beautiful, but you know that we could have done it in 6 hours. And think about it, if we have to do this for 20 clients, are we going to multiply 20 to 2 days or 3 days? It's a teachable moment for you to teach that person. Then you watch the person. Is this person more about attaining rock star status, or is more about what? Unity and collaboration. It's also another important culture we need to imbibe. Ambition. This is you first. Are you ambitious? And I'll just tie there and I will say a few things about this. Revival and crusade, we're talking about, say, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to solve the problem for the whole world? Are you content with solving it for your local government or for your street? What is the ambition? What is the drive? Do you understand? Are you okay with mediocrity? Now, some of us do business, and not here. Some people do business just to get by. Once I make enough money to eat, as long as I'm not hungry, right? Some people say it. As long as I'm not hungry, I'm okay. We are not. Those are not the people we're talking about. We're talking about billionaires, right? So your ambition should be at that level. If your ambition is to build billionaires, one of the examples we have is Dangote. If your ambition is set there, that means your vision is at that level too. If you look at Dangote, how many people is he solving problems for? A lot of people. Can't make a lot of money if you're solving for just a few people. Except if you have 5 people that are delivering ₦1 billion every month. You don't need it. Do you need a lot of people? But that means that you are solving a high level, even though it's 5 people, but each of them, they have a lot of people that they are solving that problem for. Do you understand? If I have Dangote, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, what's this Tesla guy's name? Elon Musk, about 4 or 5 of them, they come to me to deliver strategy on how to run their business. If I tell you that I'm still looking for 1,000 of that, you tell me that, guy, you want to live long. Are you sure you live long? But for each of them, I'm solving problems because each of them are delivering value for billions of people. You understand what I'm saying? So have that ambition. Let it drive you. Your desire is to smash whatever records are available. Don't play small. We are not small. Do you understand? Don't play small. Like we have that ambition and then organize yourself, your life, your business to actually hit that result. Don't ever consider that, see, anything is impossible. Whatever is impossible until somebody breaks it, right? It's always impossible until someone does it. And most of the things we want to do, we have a lot of examples of billionaires. So it's not even impossible. Am I right? And then ambition, like I said, in terms of, it's a good motivational instrument because it helps you to sustain your drive, energy, zeal. And when you achieve that, it brings about excitement. When you set a goal and achieve it, how do you feel? Good. And it's important in your businesses, when you set goals and milestones and you achieve it, celebrate it. Don't be too humble. Don't be humble to your staff. If you set a goal for your business and you achieve it, celebrate it with your staff. Because it also helps you to generate that positive emotions with which will help them to try to achieve the next one. You understand that? Of course, amongst your team, this also helps in forming solidarity, forming collaboration, teamwork. Look at activities that helps to unify us. Are there activities every member of staff are expected to be a part of on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis that bring everybody together? You could even have anthems. There's none of Dr. Olamto's organizations that don't have an anthem. And they sing that anthem. See, even 110 Academy, we have an anthem. Do you think we still need that recording for singing anthems? Because you showed today that you don't need it. You know everything is. Well, we have some choristers amongst us. can sing all the parts. But there are some people that I thought I was hearing tremor. They might think they were singing tenor. It was tremor they were singing. So choruses, cheers, have in fact you could have words of affirmation you all recite together. It's a form of, you have something that brings everybody, you share that in common. You understand what I'm saying? Then when you encourage them to get better, all the things we talked about today for business are things that if you apply to your life, you get better. And it's never lost on me when I talk to my staff. I tell them these things I'm saying we should do here. If you do apply it in your life, you get better too. It's the same thing. The organization is also a living organism. You understand? And we are the ones that feeds the organism. And then, of course, there are some organizations naturally you have uniforms, but there are some they don't have uniforms. You might have days where you all wear the same thing. Might be a t-shirt, might be an Ankara, but you might have a day of the week you all wear the same thing. It's a psychological way of identifying togetherness. We are together. On this day, we all look alike. Now, and I think this is important. We encourage, like I said, your employees are your first customer. And we encourage that you create that kind of family togetherness amongst them. So the way you will treat your brother, the way you treat your sister, your spouse, parents, there's that togetherness. You are interested in what interests them. Do you understand what I'm trying? You are looking at their growth. We are, like we say here also, you're not using people to grow your business. You are growing people with the business. That's what Dr. Lamte preaches. You're not using them to just grow the business. You are using the business to grow people. So there's that, that spirit, that team spirit, that nurturing spirit of friendship, of events. There are ceremonies. Of course, you have people getting married, naming ceremony. Everybody shows up, right? It's a way to identify that we are with you. And that is a good secret. That's a good principle to help to grow the business. Because if I know you're interested in what matters to me, I also will be interested in what matters to you. I know that, if you call this guy for anything, he's going to be there for you as much as he can be. So if he needs me for something, I'll rise to the occasion. Now, in our business, we do things, because they talked about the NGO, ACE initiatives, and at different times we've done things humanitarian, and then most of the people we use are people who work with us. We don't pay them for those humanitarian services. But it's so easy for us to do that because we take them as first our own employees and we take care of them. And so we do a lot of humanitarian work, and it doesn't make sense to us to be caring for people we don't know when we have people that we know that we can't take care of. There was a skit I saw, was it last year? I don't know. One guy, someone came to him and said that, we're hungry and all that. And he was carrying bread and all these things. He wanted to go and to the roadside. I don't know if anybody saw it. And he was calling that the photographer has not come because he needs them to, to show that he's giving to. And someone is begging for bread or something. There are people like that. Now, for us, we take care of them before we say we are taking care of. So it's so easy for them to go with us to take care of other people. So we do all of that. Now, even though you do all of that, you also have to be able to delineate that family togetherness from business. A good example is that when I started, I'm usually in the hospital 24/7. We didn't have so much patients, and also sometimes I'm in my office, sometimes I'm in the reception. We're talking about different things. We can even be laughing. I like environments where everywhere is jovial. But once a patient crosses the gate, the mood in the room changes. Because it has happened before that the mood did not change. And I make a lot of noise about it. Even myself, you won't find me in that reception. I'm moving from that reception into my office because I've gone to assume the business position. There's work to be done. That's just an example. Other examples is also that the fact that, you come to me and this is this and we encourage does not mean that if you drop the ball at work, I'll say because of this, I will not do that. There's an example, one of, I think Dr. Abib's book or something, I can't remember, he had said it. In fact, like, okay, you have someone who is pregnant and she's 6 months or 7 months pregnant and she's caught stealing. And I say, she's pregnant, she'll soon give birth. If you stop her job, how's she going to do? And your policy is to fire anybody that steals. I don't know. Does anyone have a policy where just slap them if they steal? Warn them, they will. Some people do it. Don't let me ask. Some people actually do that. For us, once you steal, that's the end. In fact, you've written your sack letter. The day you start stealing, you are just waiting for the day we'll catch you. Now, you don't say because she's pregnant, she's the breadwinner, the husband is not working, we can't sack her. You are mixing family too much with business. And what happens tomorrow when somebody else steals, even though they are not pregnant, but they are the breadwinner, or they have taken loan that they don't know how they will pay, and they come and tell you, you can't sack me. By law of precedence, you cannot sack me. We have lawyers in the room. I'm sure I hope I said it well. And they present it to you. So you have to delineate between the friendships, companionship, which is okay. Showing up at birthdays and all of that. You have to giving them room to develop and to work. You have to separate it from being goal-oriented, result-oriented. In fact, that should be the foundation with which everybody wants to achieve what the business set to do. It should not be an excuse for mediocrity. And the fact that these people are nice, I like to stay here, so I must do what I need to do to ensure that we are still happy and to keep the oil of the business, to keep it running. So you have to instill the culture of discipline, uprightness. You have to result oriented. That's one of the ways to separate. You don't say don't, because some people tell you don't get too close to your staff, so that when you have to actually execute some form of judgment, it becomes a problem. If you know you have that problem, don't get too close. Some people cannot, but you should be able to. You also have two personalities: the personality that is your friend and personality that says, if you have not done well, we are not friends. Because like the way I explain it, I look at it is that if I'm your friend and what's important to you is important to me, but what is important to me is not important to you, so you can't be my friend. I don't know if you understand. If you know that in this business we are solving problems for customers and your is chasing them away, you are my enemy, you are not my friend. It's because we don't analyze these things the way they are. We allow the emotions and the sentiments to cloud our judgments. So if someone is coming to give I'm pregnant, say that, if you knew you needed this job, why didn't you do things to ensure the sustainability of this job? Because that means that maybe you're only interested, or maybe you need it for 1 year. You are doing what in 1 year with what I'm doing, it will not die. But there are other people that need this job for the next 5 years. I need it to, in fact, beyond the time I'm here. So if you are threatening my own existence or my own source of livelihood, I know I'll take you out of the business. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a simple way to analyze it. Do you understand? And really, in every conversation, most people, because we are naturally selfish, people will try to communicate what favors them and leave out the part that favors you. It's your own job. It's not their job. They want to get what they want. It's your job to say the one that favors you than just them. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. Generate idea banks and get everybody in investing ideas, from top C-level management in our organization to the lowest level in our organization. We actually generate ideas from them, because especially if you've automated your business, you're hardly in that business, you don't know what happens, they don't know what is going on. Most times your meetings are with heads of departments, your meetings are with the management. The guys are not in those meetings, they know things that you need to know. Do you understand what I'm saying? So generate ideas from them. Have idea banks. Ask them. You can might just be fun. Now we have Google Forms. You don't need to be printing. If those days we'll print, spend money printing. But they'll feel them now. But now you have Google Forms. Just say, click this link. We did it. That we have members of staff that don't have phones that can. I tell admin, carry this hospital line. Where you go, give details. They should click. They can answer the questions, and they all did. And you can then just harvest ideas from them. Get ideas. Sometimes if you ask them to give you 10 ideas, I have 20 members of staff. How many ideas have you gotten? 200. And at your own level of understanding, you start to look at it and okay, this is good. Oh, this is not for now, this is not for us. And then you get things with which you can work with. Because our goal is continuous improvement. So you must have things to work on. And you can't have things to work on if you don't even understand where the shoe is pinching. Because at the beginning, you are there every day. But at some point, you won't be there all the time. And they'll be able to give you ideas. So, idea waiting list. You already have like 200 ideas. You are working on 10. There's still 190 waiting. Can you imagine that thing? Can you take a minute to imagine? You have 200 things to do that you have checked. And these 200 things, or 100 things, or 50 things. I know these are genuine things. And once we are able to do this thing, in fact, even I won't recognize where we are going to be. So, generate ideas. Ideas are nothing if they are not converted into action points. If you don't have things to do about those ideas, so you have to convert them. And then, of course, it's also advised, and I think it's in Dr. Abib's book too, and he said this too, most times Allow the people who come up with the ideas to midwife that idea. Sometimes those people that said we should do this, allow them with guidance to be the ones to help. It reward, like I said, for me, I gave cash gifts. Do you understand? To people who came with good ideas. They're all good ideas, but there were some that I asked for 5, and those 5 ideas were ideas that would convert immediately. And I gave them rewards. You understand? And then, of course, we're talking about creativity, innovation. Don't just come and sometimes the question you ask, you can tailor your question in a way that you get what you are looking for. Mine could be 5 things we can do now. You understand? Sometimes it could be 5 things we can implement in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, that our customers will not look at any other competitor within our vicinity. And you allow them, give them time to go think and come up with those ideas. So ensure we gather data, because we need data. So we need to analyze them in order to make the right decision. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So thank you. Please let's have our seat. So I don't know. I'm sure it has been valued for your time. Okay. No, do we have questions? I'd like to take my questions in group. Do you have any other question? Okay, now, so a few things. Okay, yes.
Thank you, sir, for the excellent presentation. In the course of the explanation, you mentioned the slide silo mentality.
Silo mentality. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So let me take those 2 questions and we'll take more. Mike, please. So first thing is this: if you're having a problem enforcing or ensuring that there's a culture of excellence, there's a disconnect somewhere. One is either you're not communicating it appropriately. 2 is that they are not the right people. But the third one is that you're allowing them to give you excuses. Now, let me explain. You said this is how we need to do something. So, for example, let's just use the example. You started the business and now you are coming to try to correct it, because I think that's what's going on. Because if you start with the right vision, as you're coming in, that's what you met. You have to flow with it. And I give you an example. When we moved, we had to move hospital. I moved from a 13-bed to a 30-bed hospital. It meant that we had to employ more than double our number. And we had that challenge because we had, I can't remember, I think we were about maybe 10 or 12 members of staff. And then we grew to about 28. So we had about 16 people join 12. They diluted, as in serious dilution. And it was a challenge at the time to come, because we started having those problems. But what we did, one of the things we did, I think that helped, is first, because we're sure of the kind of people we brought in, although some people had to leave. One of the things we did was, when they came in, there was orientation. So they understood those things. So as we started to work and realized that some people were now giving, no, we can't do this, we can't do that. We had one-on-one meetings with each and every one of them. And in those meetings, the first question is, what are your challenges? It's not about this, what I want to. What are your challenges? Then when they tell you their challenges, then you also explain. So there are some challenges you say, okay, we might need to tweak something for this person. Maybe not a major change. But you know, it's an opportunity for you to, in that one-on-one meeting, to now communicate again the things you want. And then I used to give them time. So I'm going to watch it for the next 1 month, and we're going to have another sit down, one-on-one. When you're addressing the group, it might be difficult. But when you're looking at ourselves eyeball to eyeball, and I'm giving you this is what I'm in 1 month, and I start to watch you, I get people to start to watch you. When we come back after 1 month, if you get to 1 month, then we'll reevaluate. And then we see, okay, you're coming up, you're getting there, you're understanding it. And then you're also seeing the benefits of what we're trying to achieve. Don't just communicate a culture that there's no benefit to the organization. Maybe not directly to them, they're there to what you understand. And you communicate that. So you take them one after, don't fight too many. So that's what we had to do. It took us about 1 month or 2 months, but we're able to get those that not every one of them stayed. Some people left on their own. Some we had to let go. But then we're able to get that. You have to be serious about it. Serious enough that there are consequences of people not doing those things. So break it down to the barest minimum. So we're looking at collaboration, teamwork, team spirit, and all that. So you have to even break it down to how they relate. How do they hand over cases to each other? How do they relay information? You have to look at those minute details. So you've told this person to explain to the members of the team, and then you're asking the next day. So I told you guys to do this. Have you done it? And the person they don't know, call the person. How come they didn't tell you? Listen to them. What were they? When you listen to them, you know this is someone who can work with others. When you find out make a diagnosis. When you find out the problem, then address it. Don't leave it and walk away and go and complain to yourself or to somebody else. Deal with it there. So you have to take it one step. That's how we did at the time. And before long, and they saw it because in that year, our sales actually came down. If you look at our sales year on year, it kept going, but that year it came slightly down. Then the next year, it went over more than the preceding year. And just because we're able to instill that culture back into them. Do you understand? So silo mentality is people who like to work on their own. Silos is, I think that's the storage that we use to store rice and all that. So it's like they work on their own. Their work station is both physical and mental. They don't move out. They don't deal with the next person. That's what silos mentality is. Any other question? Okay, sir.